From Global Kingston, this is Global News Morning.
Good Monday morning. It is January the 30th. Glad you could join us this morning, and we're almost at the end of the month. Bill, we were talking about how January it seems like it's been January for so long.
I get that. I got that sense too. Yeah. Tomorrow, today's the 30th, so tomorrow's the 31st. Finally an end to January, and then we can look forward to February. I'm not looking forward to the end of the week though.
No.
Temperatures are going to plummet.
Yes, minus 17 you were saying the high.
For a high. Now, no matter how bad it gets here, it's worse someplace else. For instance, I draw your attention to Fargo, North Dakota. Between yesterday and today, they have been issued wind chill warnings for it feeling like minus 43 degrees Celsius.
Oof.
Minus 43 Celsius. We're not going to get that cold by the end of the week, but still, that is brutal.
I mean, I guess that does make you feel better when you hear minus 17 and then you think, could be worse.
Yeah.
Yes.
Could be a lot worse, and it is in Fargo, North Dakota. We'll break down what you can look forward to today. A trace amount of flurry activity if we do see it. It'll be in the afternoon. It'll be intermittent as well, certainly not a whole lot, maybe a centimeter or two. But our high today, minus 5. Average high this time of year is around minus 3, so a little less than average. However, this morning as you head out the door, it's going to feel like minus 16. That's with the wind chill. So do bundle up this morning and for the rest of the day, in fact, for the rest of the week, especially Friday. I'll talk you through the rest of the week in just a moment, but back to Aaron Strickland.
Thanks, Bill. The cold case trial of Michael Wentworth came to a dramatic end on Friday. He's been sentenced to life in prison with no chance of parole for 25 years. This comes after a Kingston judge convicted Wentworth on 2 counts of murder, plus arson and a violent home invasion robbery. The judge called his lengthy crime spree chilling and horrific. Ryan Pettigrew has more.
The verdicts against Michael Wentworth were handed down over a 2-day period at the Frontenac County Courthouse. On the final day, Justice Laurie Lascelles delivered guilty verdicts on the more serious charges of first-degree murder. One of the killings was gruesome. The judge found that Wentworth murdered and dismembered a former associate, Richard Kimball, in 1996. Kimball's body was never found. Police relied on an informant and 2 undercover police officers to gather the evidence they needed to arrest Wentworth 4 years ago. This wasn't the only first-degree murder charge. He was also convicted in the 2001 death of Stephen St. Dennis, another former associate of his. The death was originally ruled an accident. He died from smoke inhalation following a fire at his Joyceville Road home. However, the Crown presented evidence that Wentworth and his partner from an earlier bank robbery drugged St. Dennis's drinks and then set fire to cooking oil after St. Dennis had passed out. On both murders, the judge said Wentworth showed chilling disregard for human life. They were human beings. They were your friends. It's astounding to have to say that you are not entitled to take their lives. The judge also convicted Wentworth of arson in relation to a car bombing in Toronto in 2000. The court heard the intended target was a criminal rival of Wentworth's, but he wasn't injured. The 3 guilty verdicts came 1 day after the same judge found Wentworth guilty in the brutal 1995 home invasion of Henrietta Knight. He was convicted of robbery, but found not guilty of manslaughter. The judge noting she was not convinced beyond a reasonable doubt that Knight's death 5 months later was a direct result of the injuries she suffered from the home invasion. The judge called the assaults that the 92-year-old Knight suffered horrific. It is the kind of offense that strikes terror in the hearts of vulnerable people living alone. Wentworth was also found guilty of a bank robbery in Kingston's West End in the mid-90s. Throughout the trial, the now convicted killer remained emotionless, rarely looking up from his notes in the quiet, half-filled courtroom. His murderous crime spree dating back almost a quarter century, no longer a cold case. Following the verdicts, Wentworth was given an automatic life sentence with no chance of parole for 25 years. Ryan Pettigrew, Global News, Kingston.
Sunday marked the 6-year anniversary of the mass shooting that took place at the Islamic Cultural Center in Quebec City. Members of the Islamic community in Kingston used the day as a day of mourning, remembering those who were lost in this tragedy. John Lawless has more.
Sunday is a somber day for the Islamic community, as they and the rest of Canada remember the victims of a mass shooting that took place at a mosque in Quebec City in 2017. 6 people were killed in the attack and 19 people were injured as they gathered at their place of worship for evening prayer.
It was most definitely an act of terrorism. It was called an act of terrorism, or maybe not at that stage, but eventually people are seeing it like that. And I think that was the first time that people started to acknowledge that Islamophobia exists.
As Rahman wears her green square to pay tribute to those who lost their lives, she recounts how the Kingston Muslim community was feeling that day. She says shock, sadness, and fear are just a few emotions that were felt by Muslims not only in Kingston, but around the country.
I think it was just devastation and a feeling of vulnerability because, you know, this could have been any place of worship. There were people in our community that were afraid to come to the mosque.
Kingston City Hall will be lit up in green to remember the victims of the attack. The Islamic Society of Kingston will also be holding prayers for remembrance and information sessions that will reflect on the massacre and the fallout from the attack. John Lawless, Global News, Kingston.
A local charity organization is raising funds for a new program to help Kingston's unhoused population. Trellis HIV and Community Care is working on an Adopt a Locker program. Based on similar initiatives in Durham and Portugal, the program would give local unhoused population access to a locker around the city where they could store their possessions, enabling them to stay in a shelter or go to an appointment without fear of having their possessions stolen. The organization's executive director says the program would have a huge impact.
So what this has been able to do is free people up to get to those appointments, free people up to get to work, for example, because they don't have to worry about like what's going to happen with their stuff.
A new online survey suggests nearly 90% of Canadians have concerns about the state of the country's healthcare system. The concern is especially high among residents of the Atlantic provinces. Leger surveyed about 1,500 adults countrywide and found Eastern Canadians also worry more than the average Canadian about the quality of care they'll get if they need to go to an emergency room. Overall, the poll found 54% of Canadians characterize the quality of their provincial health system as good or very good, while 43% rated it as poor or very poor. And now let's head over to Bill Welichka for a look at today's forecast. Good morning, Bill. What can we expect to kick off the week?
Well, not a whole lot of sunshine today. We start to see that sunshine tomorrow and even into Wednesday, so that's the good news. A chilly morning awaits you as you head out the door, and some light flurry activity. It'll be intermittent and it'll be quick throughout the afternoon. Maybe a centimeter or two if we do see it, and then some sunshine for tomorrow, and like I said, into Wednesday. Right now, -8, feeling like -13, factoring in that wind chill. Belleville, good morning to you. -4 for you today, no more than a couple of centimeters of mixed precipitation. -6 for Tuesday, a mix of sun and clouds. Sunny periods for Wednesday as well, climbing to -4. It is going to be a chilly week. These are a little below average. Average high this time of year is around -3. So Brockville today, -6. Again, no more than 2 centimeters of a rain-snow mix. -7 tomorrow, mostly clear. -5 on Wednesday. Enjoy a mix of sun and clouds. Much the same for Smiths Falls here. No more than a couple of centimeters of a rain-snow mix. Might see the odd frozen pellet as well, but -7 the high today. Well below average, -7 tomorrow, but some sunshine and some sunny periods for Wednesday as well, getting to -5. Here's how Kingston's next 5 days are unfolding. We'll get to -5 today. 1 to 2 centimeters of a rain-snow mix and some sunny periods both Tuesday and Wednesday, a high of -6 tomorrow, -5 on Wednesday. Thursday, mostly cloudy, -1. And then what a difference 24 hours is going to make. Yikes, -18 for a high. That's for a high on Friday, a mix of sun and clouds, and not much better Saturday at this point as well. A Saskatchewan park broke a Guinness World Record when hundreds of people on water inflatables formed a line measuring 1,177 feet long. The crowd gathered at Lac Peltier Regional Park in Waimark in late July, but Guinness World Records has now confirmed the event broke the record for the longest line of water inflatables. Guinness confirmed the line of inflatables beat the previous record of 705 feet, which was set in Milan, Italy in 2019. I think this is a record we can do here in Kingston and break.
How fun would that be? I would definitely be on board.
I say do it at Gord Downey Pier this summer. Make it for charity. Give money to the Downey Wenjack Fund, Lake Ontario Waterkeepers, University Hospital, Kingston's Foundation. Again, all we have to do is beat 1,177 feet long.
Oh, easy peasy.
I know. If anyone wants to take the lead on this, go ahead, email me. I will back it up and promote it completely.
Stay with us. We're back after the break.